Good morning.
Okay, I think we've got everybody here that we're waiting on, so I'll open the meeting. Looks like 11:12 a.m. First order of business is to have a roll call to make sure we have who all's sitting in on the meeting. I've got myself, Don Lee, I've got Randy Crossan, I've got Roger Remlinger, I've got Jim Bryan, I've got Matt West, I've got Keith Brown, and Randy Crossan. Have I missed anybody? So we're all in attendance. First order of business is to consider and take action on the implementation of the COVID-19 Small Business Recovery Grant Program. The program has been developed as a response to adverse economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. And you guys have all received a printout of the recovery grant that we're going to try to take action on today. Just to take you through the highlights of it, business must meet all the following criteria. Before I get into that, this grant is available to all non-home-based small businesses in the city of Canyon. Priority will be given to businesses that have a frequent and close contact with customers. Categories of eligible small businesses include retail, restaurant/food business, personal care, which would include barbershops, nail and hair salons, spas, etc., child care, venues, and small manufacturing businesses. And we use the 25 employees or less. That's the national definition of small business. When we talk about commercial district, we're really thinking about 4th Avenue and 23rd Street. These people need to have experienced a decline in employment as a result of the pandemic. They also need to be in good standing with the city and being current on their sales and use tax permits, engaged in activities that are legal. That's always a good idea. Meet program technical requirements, including ability to provide financial records, and registered with the state, with the Secretary of State. Any questions or comments on any of that part of things?
Don, I just had a question, or Evelyn, on the actual application, and you may get into this in a minute, Don, but on the something I just noticed. But as far as the repayment of the funds, are we tracking? Because it does say that if the funds are not used for the specific purposes, that then will be required to be paid back to the CEDC. So are we tracking, or will we be tracking what the funds are used for?
Chuck, you want to address that?
Yes, sir. We could put that as a requirement. The applicant agreement is at the very end of the form, application form, right above the signature line. And one thing that we were looking at when we drafted that particular language right there is to what degree do we want to really monitor that, or we could require written verification. I mean, I'm just going to leave that up to the board. If you want to alter that form to require written verification to be submitted to CEDC, we can certainly do that. That like Evelyn drafted the remainder of the form. I just contributed that language right there. So we can certainly do that if you would like to see that in there. Majority of the board would like to see that in there.
And I'm certainly not saying it needs to be in there, or it's okay if it is, but I'm just saying if how will we know if they're not? So
well,
that was just a comment.
Unless you follow up on it, you probably won't know that. And so we can put it in there, but our feeling was, and my feeling actually was, there needs to be some kind of criteria involved with the grant.
And I would agree with that, sure.
Due to the scope of this project, we don't know how many people we're going to have participating, and I think it's asking a lot to follow up and to to follow up on each of these projects. Evelyn, you have any ideas?
You know, I could circle back maybe a few weeks later, say after they receive, if they're approved and they receive their check, and then mark on the calendar and just follow up 2 weeks later and just say, you know, tell me how you used your money. And it would probably be a face-to-face visit to the business, and that would be probably about all that we could do. We could ask them to validate, in other words, if they were going to hire back some employees, they could validate that through their payroll. I mean, there are some things we could do. The one thing that kind of concerns me is if we have 40 people that apply and are approved, then we've got 40 projects to monitor. So that's pretty time and labor intensive, but I'll do whatever the board feels comfortable with.
Well, I think it's going to be very hard to validate it. No matter what they tell you, you're not going to know anyway. I think it's probably a little bit of overkill, but that's just my opinion. I don't think you can track it, really.
Well, and it's all made in good faith that they're agreeing to the application and that they'll use the funds for it, and that's putting them on notice that in good faith that you will use them for this, and then I guess it's up to us whether or not to follow up with that or not.
Well, I mean, I don't understand why it's not easy for them just to prove up to us how they showed it. I mean, not so much that we have to go and monitor it, you know, just at the end of the period, and just say, hey, you know, give us a summary of how the funds were used.
To me, that at least says to the public whose money we're spending, you know, we gave it in good faith. They responded this way, so that we could at least respond if we feel like they haven't used it in this way.
Well, doesn't the application really kind of take care of this? I mean, they have blanks where they tell us why they need the funds and why they're suffering and what their plans are for the use of the funds.
That's correct.
So I think that's probably got to be enough. If somebody's going to lie, they're going to lie. There's not much we can do about that. I think our point is to try to take action on this and get this money available to the participants sooner than later. So I don't know that we want a lot of red tape to deal with down through the process.
I agree.
I think Evelyn has done a great job. By the way, we also have Evelyn Ecker, our executive director, and Chuck Hester, our attorney, sitting in on the meeting. Sorry I didn't acknowledge you guys. I think Evelyn's done a great job of getting this information in front of each of you. And we have had two or three phone calls with some of you that had questions. Is there anything else we need to talk about before we consider and take action on the implementation of the Small Business Recovery Grant Program?
Don, I just want to point out that, you know, I honestly don't see where that's a problem to get a summary back as to how the funds were used. I mean, we're not asking for receipts and everything, you know, we could, and that is a burden, you know, but just a summary of how the funds were used, and we just have that as how those funds were used in the community. You know, I think for what we're providing, I don't think that's asking a whole lot.
Yeah, I think we can do that. That's no problem, is it, Evelyn?
Do we want to put that in the application, or do we want that to be, like if they're approved for it, then would that just be in a face-to-face meeting that I would have with the person or the business that's been approved? Would I stress that at that point that they would need to do a summary, or say, I will check with you in 2 weeks and we expect a summary of how you used, you know, your grant?
How about we just follow up with a phone call or an email on your behalf? We've tweaked this application. We kind of need to get it on out in the next step. Is that acceptable to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So with that said, if there's no other discussion, I would look for a motion on our agenda item number 2.
Don, I move that we implement COVID-19 small business recovery grant.
Second.
Motion was from Roger. The second was from who?
Matt.
Matt? Any more discussion? Sean, do we have anybody participant-wise that needs to be included?
No, sir.
With that being said, it's been moved and seconded that we take action on the implementation of the COVID-19 Small Business Recovery Grant Program. Would each of you say I approve, verbally say I approve?
I approve.
I approve.
I approve.
Or is there anyone opposed? And that motion passes.
Don, how will we advertise about this?
Evelyn, you want to address that?
Yes. We will social media, and it will be on our website. In fact, we have Marketing Alliance, the company that built our most recent website. They're already working on a banner. And so you'll go on our homepage to the banner that talks about the COVID-19 recovery grant program, and they'll click on that, and then they'll be able to click and go to the application immediately. They'll be able to fill the application online and submit it. So we've got that ready to go. There'll be, the city will put it on their website and do social media with it as well. And then more than likely, we'll write a press release for the Canyon News.
Do you want me to email it to all the members?
Yes.
The Canyon members.
Yes.
We can get
Any
that.
other questions?
Evelyn, I would encourage you to send that press release to TV too. They seem to be looking for ways to talk, different ways to talk about COVID. So I think it's goodwill, for the public to see that the EDC has responded this way.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Yes. And we need something positive on the news.
Okay, are we ready to go to the item number 3? So consider and adopt a resolution number 01-04-2020, amending the approved Canyon Economic Development Corporation budget for the amount of $200,000 to support the COVID-19 Small Business Recovery Grant Program. All this is doing is making the $200,000 that we've set aside, amending our budget. Do I need to read this resolution, Evelyn?
You just need to read the caption, Don.
Any discussion on the resolution? Anybody have any hang-ups on it? Any questions?
No, I move that we accept that resolution.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Randy's moved. Who was the second?
Don, I did.
Okay, Jim Bryan was the second. Evelyn,
Okay. Okay.
any further discussion? If not, we'll vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? And that motion passes unanimously. A little housekeeping for us before we adjourn. Obviously, we have moved fast on this, and the city commission wants to move fast, so Evelyn's going to get this information to the city manager before we leave today, and then we'll be, they'll meet Monday morning to approve what we've done today, hopefully. We hope to go live as far as people being able to apply online by April 21st. That's what we're hoping for. I don't know what kind of response we'll have, but how quickly they'll respond, but we're tentatively looking at another meeting for April the 30th. Consider applications. And we'll also see if we'll need to meet on May 7th, or if we can go 2 weeks. Our regularly scheduled board meeting is May 14th. So just, you might mark that on your calendar. We'll keep you informed of how this goes with applications. Anything else we need to talk about?
Are there
Give
any
that date again, Don.
questions?
Sorry, Keith?
Give that date again. Did you say meet on the 30th?
Yeah, that'd be the first time I think we'd meet. Then we'll kind of play it by ear after that. We might meet again on the 7th, depending on the scope of the projects we have, or we might wait till the 14th, which is our regular meeting.
Do you know what time on the 30th, Don, or is that just going to we'll just notify us later on?
I guess we'd notify you. I would assume we would probably do the same 4:30 time unless you guys think differently. That seems to work pretty well for everybody. Evelyn, do you have anything else?
I
Are there any public members that have a question?
No.
Okay.
So we're good to go. This meeting is adjourned at 11:29 a.m. Thank you guys for your attendance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Don.